Johnny here with another draw along for you guys. Today we are going to be drawing Baby Groot from the movie Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. If you guys have seen the movie, you all noticed this pose is kind of taken from that opening scene when he's dancing. So without further ado, let's rock and roll. Starting off and marking my borders here on the paper. This is just so I could stay in frame, but I also suggest you do it so you can keep your drawing centered on your paper. This is going to be a little similar to drawings we've done in the past, but a little different as well. Let me tell you what I mean. So we're still going to do our layout with basic shapes, but instead of using such like solid structured shapes like we have done before, you know, squares, circles, rectangles, triangles, stuff like that, we're going to get into more kind of flowy shapes, mostly with the body. So I'm starting off with a circle for the head here. Okay, nice and simple. And for the body, instead of doing shapes, we're going to do what we call gestures. So the gesture is really to capture the pose and the flow and the motion of it. So instead of drawing like a triangle or a stagnant shape, here's what we're going to do. For this side of the body, we're going to draw a gesture line curving like so. If you noticed on this pose here, this side of his body has a stretch, and then this side is more of a pinch. So that's like a common thing when we work with gestures. It's kind of like the rule of opposites, right? So you could have balance. So we got this curve here, and then here on this side of the body, we're going to go down and pinch. Here's that pinch that we were talking about. So just like that. All right, and then we're gonna get his legs in here. So we're gonna do a gesture line for the knee to capture the bend in his knee. We're gonna start right here, and we're just gonna add a curve just like that. So make sure you guys are drawing really lightly, especially when we're working with gestures, because we're gonna make some adjustments and corrections along the way. And if you're drawing lightly, it just makes it easier for you to fix those mistakes. Okay, so we have the bend in the knee here. And for the bottom of his foot, we're going to do an oval shape like this. Okay. And from there, we're going to do a big gesture curve starting from the bottom of his foot. We're going to curve up and we're going to follow it all the way down to the other foot. So it's going to look something like this. Start here, go up, and then we curve all the way down to here. Okay. And for the bottom of this foot, instead of drawing the oval shape, because we're actually on this foot, we're seeing the underneath part of his foot. That's why we drew the oval. But here, this is a foot on the ground, so we're not seeing the underneath part. So all we need to draw is a curve like that. Okay. And once you have this for the foot, we're going to curve down like this to complete the leg. And now you can see we have the curve of the body, the curve of the legs, and now let's do the arms. So for this arm here, we could start pretty much where the body is connecting to the head, the circle for the head. And we're just gonna do a nice smooth curve going up like this. And then we could make a point here and bring that curve back down over to the body. So something to keep in mind for these gesture poses, or these gesture lines, the shape is not as important as the actual flow of the pose. Okay, so what you want to focus on more is just capturing the flow. So you see a nice smooth curve for the arm, and then right back down to the body. Because the reason why you want to focus more on the pose instead of the shapes you're drawing is because if you're drawing these gestures lightly, then when it comes time to add the details on top of our lay-in like this, then you could fix the shape, whatever shape you need to fix in that stage. In this stage, we really want more of the flow of the pose, okay? So we got the head, body, arms, legs. Time to start adding some details. Let's start with the actual head shape first. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna darken up the edge of this circle on this part and bring it all the way down to the chin. But I'm gonna leave a gap here. I'm gonna jump to the other side here and darken it up. Okay. And I'm gonna erase this just to get rid of that gap, or make the gap here. And then for the top of the head, first I'm gonna draw a little extra guideline here, going flat and down, connecting here to the side. So it's kind of like you're drawing a flat top on top of his head, okay? Make sure you draw this light because we're gonna do a lot of erasing. So from here, this is our guide on making all these little details here on the top of his head. What I'm gonna do is follow this up here, and then I'm gonna start making cracks and ridges. You can make them pointy like this, or you could flatten them out on the top, even on the bottom like so. One thing that you want to try to do is have a lot of variety in these details that you're drawing, because if you have more variety, I think it makes the drawing look more interesting. Instead of if I were to do the same shape all the way through, it will just look kind of boring. Okay, and if you notice too, this guide, some of these these details I'm going past the guide here, and then some I'm even like coming right on the guide, or even underneath like this. So just mix it up. This part you could be kind of free to draw it how you like. Okay, I'm gonna add a few bigger ones here on the side. Maybe come up to a point like this. Okay. And then once you get to the other side, you could darken up the edge like this. Okay. I'm gonna get rid of some of these guidelines just to give you guys a clearer view. Okay, now that we have the head shape, we could start adding the features. But before we add the features, we're gonna draw a midline, a vertical midline, just so we make sure everything is nice and even. Okay, so there's the vertical midline, and then we're gonna do a horizontal midline. This one doesn't have to be exactly in the middle. Kind of eyeball it. Okay, So now that we have our head broken up into even spaces, we're gonna do the eyes. Very simple. You just want to do circles. And this is kind of like a mini version of Baby Groot, even though he's already small. It's kind of an even smaller version. And to make him look more cute, we're gonna make the eyes pretty big. So I'm using this horizontal midline to kind of guide my circle. If half is up top and half is on bottom, that'll help you make sure the eyes are staying centered. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. I'm gonna go a little more to the side here. Still drawing lightly here, just because if I spot anything off with the eyes, I could still have time to correct it. So maybe if I do one smaller than the other, or maybe if it's just like a little off center, I can double check. They look good to me, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a highlight right here in the shape of an oval. And remember, a highlight on this side too. Remember, the highlights are the brightest part, not just the eye, but in any part of the drawing. And it's pretty much where the light is reflecting off into the viewer's eyes. So we want to leave the highlights as white as we can. So what you want to do is, as you shade the eye, just avoid that oval that you made for the highlight. So as I shade, I'm just going up and down with my pencil strokes. And I'm not pressing hard. I'm just going over it several times. And the more times you go over it, the darker it's going to get. Now I'm going side to side just to build up the darkness a little bit. And I'll do the same thing for here. Okay. So you see how it starts off light, but the more times I pass through, it gets a little bit darker each time. And this is just the way to make sure you have nice and smooth shading. I'm just going to darken up the lines here so it looks nice and crisp. Right. Now for the mouth, we're just going to do a simple smile. We're going to come here, find the midline, and then use that to guide us. Just like that. Start with the smile like this. And then if you want to, you could leave it like this, but if you want to make it an open mouth smile, you just add another curve right underneath. And you fill that in as well. From there, we're going to add the details here across the face. We're going for like a wood texture. So we just need to make lines going down. And again, the more variety you have in these lines, so some big ones, some small ones, maybe some up here, do a couple down here. The more you mix it up, the more interesting it's going to look. I'm going to get rid of these mid lines that we drew. We don't really need them anymore. Okay. So just some lines here and there. You don't have to go overboard. In fact, if you put too much, it might get distracting from the other features that we drew. So just a few here and there. See, you put some close together too, like little bunches. And you put some on their own. Maybe one here. Okay. Now we got the head done. Let's do the body. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to outline the outer edges of the body pretty dark and pretty bold. The reason why is because if you do a bold outline around the edges, there's a lot of line work and details in the body. So if these lines look the same as the outside lines, it might look a little muddy or nothing is really going to stand out as it should. So I'm going to darken up these lines here. And if I feel like anything needs to be adjusted, I can make those adjustments. I think this, I'm not really into how the knee is curving here, so I'm going to make it just a little shorter. Okay. So nice and bold. Try to make your lines smooth as well. Mine are coming out a little shaky. Darken this up as well. Here, I don't really like this pointy corner that I'm seeing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a curve to it, just so it's more rounded off. Okay. Here on the side of the body, I'm actually going in towards past the leg, just a little bit, all the way here. I'm not darkening up this line that's going through the arm. Okay, I'm gonna save the arms for last, so I'm not gonna darken those up yet. But to get these details on the body, all we're gonna do is we're going to add a bunch of S and C curves like this. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to do a big S curve like that. So if you don't know, a S curve and a C curve are pretty much what they sound like. A C curve is a line with one curve in it, like a letter C. It could be really stretched out like that, or it could be really flat like this. And then an S curve is a line with two curves in it, like the letter S. So again, it could be really stretched out like that, or it could be really flattened like this. Okay, so we're starting with a simple S curve, and from there, just like the rest of the drawing, you guys could be free to add the details how you like, but the more variety, the better. Okay, so like I got another S curve here. Maybe I'll do a C curve coming down this way to his leg. Do another S curve like that. Maybe one more here. We'll do a C curve. These lines are trying to simulate the texture of wood. And then for his legs, we're just going to follow the shape. We're going to use lines like this, kind of like how we just use lines going down the head. Pretty similar here. We're going to go down like this. And then from the feet too, we're going to add some cracks in here. Okay. just put enough lines and details in here so it would look interesting, but don't go overboard so it's not overpowering, right? You want to find that balance. And a good way to do that is draw a little bit at a time and then look at the big picture and see, maybe I need a little more here or over here. And then you can make those decisions as you build your drawing slowly. Okay, so for the arms, I'm gonna darken up this side here all the way to this point. And this point is gonna be, we're actually gonna use it for the thumb. So to make the rest of the hand, here's how it's gonna look. I'm gonna come from this side of the arm, and then once I get here, I'm gonna keep going out and then just draw 3 spikes here at the end for his fingers, and then his thumb closes it off like that. Okay. And then I'm gonna add a bunch of S curves and C curves going down the arm just to get those details. Like that. Okay, this hand part might have been kind of confusing. Let me show you again on this side. So this is the point here is going to be the thumb, right? So we just need to go in a little bit, come up, add 3 spikes, and then from the end of this last finger, we just connect it down back to the arm. So now that we have the shape, I'm going to darken up these edges here. And then from there, I'm just going to add those S curves and C curves to get those final details in. And there you go. We have everything in place, or we call it finished. We want to make sure we take the time to make those final refinements. So look at the big picture. Erase any lines that you don't need. If you need to clean up some lines like here, sharpen them up. Maybe even add a few more details. Maybe an extra one here. Yeah. Okay. You know, even if you want, Baby Groot, sometimes he has leaves growing out of him. Maybe you could add a few leaves or two. Just have a branch coming out here. And a leaf. See? Just those little details is what's going to bring your drawing to the next level. Maybe one more here. All right. And there you go, there's your Baby Groot. Hope you guys enjoyed the drawing today, and we hope that you'll join us again for more draw-alongs in the future. Thanks, guys.